Smoke from a roasting pit, the smell of copal wood being carved, mole that took 3 days to make, ruins older than the Roman Colosseum, a pottery technique unchanged for 500 years, a tree so wide it takes 30 people holding hands to wrap around it. Oaxaca is more than the foods it's known for. 5 days in one valley in the middle of Mexico's Sierra Madre del Sur mountain range. Sometimes not having a planned out day works well. Oaxaca's Centro is one of those places that rewards wandering. Every block has something to stop for. Bougainvillea flowers gracing random doorways, a woman pressing tortillas behind a window, a musician playing under a stone archway at noon. We just walked and let the city come to us. Look at Santo Domingo. The Basilica of Santo Domingo de Guzman was begun in 1570, nearly 5 centuries old, and it does not let you forget it. From the outside, the white stone facade reads almost severe, twin towers, clean geometry. But step inside and you walk straight into one of the most ornate Baroque interiors in all of Mexico. The ceiling is covered in gilded stucco relief work that took generations of artisans to complete. I stood there for a while just looking up. It's not a ruin, it's not a museum. Mass is still held here. That felt important. Food, the rule in Oaxaca. Never walk past a market without eating something. Oaxaca is known as the land of 7 moles, 7 distinct chili-based sauces, each one its own architecture of flavor. The negro mole, the darkest, richest one, is black sauce/gravy that in my opinion didn't look all that appetizing to me. And when they said it contains a bit of chocolate, I couldn't imagine it on anything but dessert. It takes days to prepare properly. We had it over chicken at an open-air restaurant with an open kitchen. It turned out to be my favorite. We also tried roasted grasshoppers, seasoned with lime and chili. Crunchy, a little nutty and really salty. And if you don't, look at it too hard, it's not that scary. Honestly, if you like savory treats, it ain't bad. Just outside the city, the towns change. We spent a day going village to village. It felt less like tourism and more like being invited into someone's life work. Each one has specialized in something, a single craft refined across hundreds of years, passed from grandparent to grandchild. Doña Rosa Pottery, San Bartolo Coyotepec, is famous for one thing, barro negro. Black clay pottery, distinctive to this valley, with a metallic sheen that comes from burnishing before firing. What makes it remarkable is that there's no wheel. The potter sits on the ground and coils the clay by hand, turning the piece on a flat disc, shaping from the inside. It's a method that hasn't changed much in several hundred years. What has changed is who holds the knowledge. It was a woman, Dona Rosa, who in the mid-20th century popularized the style and brought it international attention. The workshop still carries her name, and the woman you see here, making art in the blink of an eye, is Doña's granddaughter. Rug making. The next stop was a family workshop that's been weaving rugs for generations. Zapotec rugs, handmade on pedal looms using wool dyed with natural materials. The reds come from cochineal, a dye made from insects harvested from cactus. The yellows from marigolds, the indigo from plants. A single rug, maybe 2 feet by 3 feet, can take days. A large piece, weeks. The patterns are geometric, angular, descended from the same visual language the Zapotec civilization used on their temple walls 2,000 years ago. You can feel when you're holding something that took that long to make. It has a different weight. A wood carving studio, the Alebrijes. If you've seen Pixar's Coco, you've seen Alebrijes. They are fantastical painted animal figures, part dog, part dragon, part whatever the carver imagined. The Oaxacan version is carved from copal wood and then painted in designs so intricate they require a brush with a single hair. Just look at the precision, amazing. The studio we visited was a family operation. All the relatives learn the art. Someone carves, someone paints, someone does both. I asked an elder how long he'd been doing it. He thought about it for a moment. He said he wasn't sure. It was simply what he'd always done. El Árbol del Tule. Some things here have been standing far longer than anyone remembers. In the small town of Santa Maria del Tule, there is a 1,400-year-old tree. That sentence doesn't prepare you for it. El Árbol del Tule is a Montezuma cypress. It's believed to be between 1,500 and 3,000 years old. But it's the circumference that stops you, over 58 meters around the trunk, the widest tree trunk on Earth. Standing next to it, you feel like a house plant. The trunk isn't smooth. It erupts in weird formations, knots and ridges that, depending on who you ask, look like animals or faces. Locals have names for all of them. No way could I capture this giant in one shot, so bear with me. This tree has been here since before this town existed. Mitla, Zapotec ruins. Mitla is the second most important archaeological site in Oaxaca, after Monte Alban. It was once the religious center of the Zapotec world, and what sets it apart from other Mesoamerican sites is the stonework. The buildings here are covered in geometric mosaic panels, thousands of precisely cut stone pieces fitted together without mortar into interlocking patterns called grecas. No two panels are identical. The complexity is staggering when you consider that every piece was hand-cut and hand-set. The Zapotecs weren't conquered by the Spanish. Not exactly, they adapted. Many converted. The town of Mitla grew up around the ruins, and a Spanish colonial church was built directly on top of one of the ancient platforms. You can see both from the same spot, the church tower rising above the pre-Columbian walls. I kept thinking about who built this, and the fact that their descendants are the people selling rugs and pottery a few miles down the road. The culture didn't end here. It continued. The steps to the palace at Mitla are very steep and narrow. Our Zapotecan guide explained that the Indigenous did this on purpose. They wanted to discourage people from turning their backs to the palace upon leaving. Mission accomplished. The drink that is Oaxaca in a glass. We went to a Mezcal distillery. Mezcal is not tequila's edgy cousin. It's a completely different thing. Tequila is made from one specific agave in one specific region industrially. Mezcal can be made often by hand from dozens of agave species, some cultivated, some wild, using methods that have barely changed in centuries. The heart of the agave plant, called the piña, is roasted in an underground pit lined with hot rocks. That roasting is what gives mezcal its smoke. At the Palenque, that's what they call a mezcal distillery, the maestro mezcalero let us watch every stage. The result comes out unaged, clear, and so specific to that place and that plant that no two batches are exactly alike. Often sipped straight, I was thinking slow, smoky, handmade. I was also thinking smoke was coming out of my ears and hair was growing on my chest. But when the mezcal was added to a fruity cocktail, ay Dios mío, game changer. It was delish. I tried a variety of mezcal cocktails I highly recommend. A few days is not enough to really understand a place like this. But here's what I kept coming back to. Oaxaca isn't a place that's preserving its culture. It's a place that's living it. If you're thinking about going, go. Give it more than 4 days. Eat everything, walk slowly, buy the rug. What surprised me most was how unassuming it all is. Nobody here is trying to convince you that this is a special place. It simply is, they know it, and they get on with it. If you've seen other videos about Oaxaca, you already know I've omitted a few things, like the Monte Alban ruins, the petrified waterfalls, street festivals, giant mercados, the indigenous caves, etc. I didn't want this to be just another food or 10 things to do in Oaxaca video. I wanted you to feel a few things. Success? Let me know. And subscribe to see where I can take you next. Vicariously. Hasta luego.